Okay, so I guess I want to start my first video by talking about a little bit about where we're at in our trying to conceive journey and why we're where we're at. There's a lot of things that I want to talk about, not just for like friends and family, but for people who are also trying to conceive and are just wondering like, why isn't it working? Am I jumping to conclusions? Things like that. Definitely want to talk about all those things, but I can do that in separate videos. But right now I like to say about 2 years trying to conceive. Medically, I guess you'd have to say 9 months. But basically everything started with my endometriosis diagnosis. I can make a separate video with more detail there, but it's something that I already knew I had because it's genetic and my mom had it. But I also had all these horrible symptoms. And so I finally found the right doctor to listen to me and actually know what endometriosis is and how to treat it. So once we found that out, there was a lot more information that we didn't know, and not just about my body, but also for trying to have kids. So after that surgery, we went I think I did 8 months of suppression with an IUD. I felt amazing on that. Post-surgery, I felt amazing. I was also on a semaglutide shot probably for 4 to 5 months while on the IUD, and I have to tell you, that was like the best I've ever felt in my entire life, and I'm 27. So that goes to show that the endo is definitely having an impact on my body and my life. But we did the suppression for 8 months because at the time I just didn't see myself having kids yet. Like, I had been so miserable that I'm like, I can't take care of kids. I can really take care of myself. I'm just so miserable and mentally and physically drained from it. So, and I will say endo is different for everybody. I have a more severe case. He never told me if I had like stage 4, stage 3. A lot of people talk in stages, but I don't know if I have a stage or anything. But it was like everywhere in my abdomen, so it's definitely causing a lot of inflammation and an impact on my body. So we did the suppression. So basically that whatever was left over from surgery, the IUD with using progesterone would actually kind of, I guess, like eat away or like kill whatever was left over from the endo. And also, of course, just overall was balancing the hormones so that I wouldn't have more flare-ups and have the endo grow back. So after 8 months of feeling like I could conquer the world, and a lot of other, factors, of course, my husband and I were finally like, I'm ready. I want to start having kids. Let's just see what happens. I really didn't feel like I was going to have issues because, like I said, I felt so amazing and I went in very hopeful. And so as soon as I was ready, I told my doctor, and he's like, okay, cool, like, let's do this. So took the IUD out. I probably tried for like a month or two naturally, and then we did letrozole, which is like a follicle stimulating hormone. Don't quote me on all the terms, but I believe that's what it's called. We did that for about 9 months, still no success. So we're now in our 10th or 11th month of trying without the IUD, so like actually trying. But I say 2 years because with that suppression, after surgery, like a year and a half ago, we already knew that one of my fallopian tubes was closed or kinked in some type of way. So after the IUD was removed, we did an HSG test to check if my fallopian tube was open or closed. At that point, like I said, the progesterone and the IUD kind of helps, I guess, disintegrate or eat the remaining endo. So they were checking to see if the IUD had helped that kink, or maybe the kink could have been scar tissue, it could have been the endo, it could have been just some kind of anatomy problem. So when they did the HSG test, I'll have to look back at my notes and see when or at what month we actually did that. I want to say it was the first 3 months, because that was obviously a big thing that we already knew was a problem that could be hindering us getting pregnant. So after we did the test, it was perfect. The dye went through both fallopian tubes and the uterus, and like, so I was like, oh my gosh, that's great. Like, I 100% believe that IUD fixed that fallopian tube, and allowed us to use them again. So that's why I like to say 2 years of trying, because I think without the IUD, we probably would have had only one functioning fallopian tube. So after all that information, after being off of the IUD and suppression for 9 months and being on medication that stimulates the follicles for 9 months, my endo has definitely come back. They can't see it unless they open me up again, but I have all the old symptoms again, so I know that that is a problem already. And after my first surgery, they had left some on my colon, on my appendix, and my rectal wall, so we already knew that there was some left over, and that could definitely grow back. So now we're scheduled for surgery number 2. That will be in March, and I currently have a consult with the Fertility Answers Clinic in Baton Rouge in Women's Hospital. That'll be February, and then I have a second consult with another out-of-state fertility clinic in like the day before my surgery. So we're still kind of up in the air with both, but we can definitely keep everyone posted on which one we choose. I plan on making this a pretty detailed journal for everyone, not just for my friends and family, but for just people who are trying to conceive or having a lot of questions. I'm an esthetician and photographer, so a lot of my clients talk to me about that. I have clients that already have kids or are still trying to have kids, and when they kind of mention some things, it's just not talked about enough. And so sometimes they'll mention something, and then I'm like, I went through that, and they're like, oh my God, really? And then it's like floodgate of information that they just want to know things. So aside from trying to help people, I noticed that I need a lot of help. This has been very, very lonely for me. Of course, my husband's been very supportive, but it's just not the same. He's not going through the same thing that I am in a lot of ways. He's always wanted children. He wants like a football team of kids, but I just want to have at least a few. So I've realized since my endometriosis diagnosis that I have really gained a lot of information and a lot of help by telling people and talking to people about their experience. I wouldn't have found my OBGYN that I absolutely love if it weren't for a client that recommended him. And then the more I talked about it, the more people that actually said, I also see him, my sister sees him, so-and-so delivered our baby. Like everyone, I feel like half of Baton Rouge sees Dr. Dickerson. So he's amazing and has been a lifesaver for me, for my body. And there's so much information over the last 2 years about what I've been going through and what's going on that I'll probably try to focus like one subject at a time per video. But if anyone that doesn't know me or hasn't already heard the story, if you have a question, just comment below and I'll make a video about it or whatever. I'm very new to TikTok, so y'all can tell me like what I can and can't do or say, because I kind of have a potty mouth. So y'all just let me know what you want to hear and how you want to hear about it or whatever.